What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and welcome to Fly Nubian Money, where we help you to master your mindset and maximize your money. Today, we are tackling a topic that's sparking real tension. This is going to be very, very interesting. Relationships, money, and what masculinity. Don't be soft. Man up. A video of two black men debating 50-50 relationships have gone viral. One pays all the bills and shames the other for not doing the same. But what does that really say about expectations in modern relationships? Is financial dominance the new measure of manhood, or are we ignoring the real pressures black men face in today's economy? Let's get into it, y'all. So listen, we have the dopest and most amazing queens and king on the planet, y'all. We got Dr. Alicia right over here. She is a therapist and a coach and a PhD. She's a real doctor. We got another real doctor over here too. Dr. Lene Javette, the mindset, brilliant coach, and all the things. She has a conference getting ready to come up too that I'm super excited about. And then we got Joe Corley, who is a therapist, and we have Noma Langa. What's up, Noma? She is a wait. What you are the family? Wait, what's your title? I keep forgetting. What is
marriage, motherhood, and money making?
Boom, the 3 M's. Noma Langa is the marriage, money, and marriage what?
Motherhood and money making.
Motherhood and money making. Yes, all of those things. All those things are extremely important. And actually, we have all the right people here today that are going to be sharing with us their perspective on this really hot topic that I think will be rather explosive and entertaining, enlightening, and informative. So let's do this real quick. Let's look at this first video, and I want to see what y'all think. Look at Dr. Alicia over there writing her notes down already. Let's go.
It's hard out here. And you talking about, oh, I'm not a man if I'm going 50-50 with my woman. It's hard, brother. You sitting up here, your nice house, your nice jewelry, nice cars. Oh yeah, man, you gotta do 100%. How? How, brother? If I'm making $14 an hour, what you expect? You know, you still on there. Oh yeah, man, 100%. You're not a man. You're not a man. How? I'm still working. I'm still providing, right? So what makes me not a man? Because I'm going 50-50 with my woman.
And brother, I applaud you because I understand that it is hard out here, but we are men, so we have to go harder. I'm not saying or trying to speak down to you, my brother, by any means necessary. I'm not. But I want you to be reminded of something that our fathers didn't teach us, that we must go hard and that we shouldn't get into a relationship with a woman until we have direction.
But who are you to say that?
A person that cares, a person that loves you, a person that's been in your shoes and understands how it feels when we can't give our family what they truly deserve. We have to go hard. Now, give me one moment. I've been in your shoes. And when I was in your shoes, I stayed in my lane. I lived where I lived. My woman didn't work. She nurtured to the children till I got this. And I'm trying to give you the cheat code. Do what you need to do so you can feed your woman, and while she's nurturing the children, she can also nurture your dreams and your goals. Now you can be successful. Now you don't have to say I'm working for $15. Now you can say I got employees that I'm paying that's working for me for $15. I'm trying to elevate you, but men get so caught in their emotions and their pride, and the first thing you want to do is feel attacked. Get the wisdom.
This is coming from a rich man.
But right now you're acting triggered. But right now you're acting triggered.
But this is coming from a rich man.
How did I get here?
That's interesting. So I'm actually interested in hearing first what the man on the panel has to say about this. Joe, what are your thoughts on what you heard?
It was. I don't like this. I don't like this conversation. There's a lot of things in it that bother me. You know, I think the wrong questions are. Both of these gentlemen are talking from their lived experience, and not really, you know, dealing with where each one of them is at. Because they're such opposite spectrums, they should more. I would hope for them to have a conversation more where they're asking each other questions. I would want to know from the brother who wasn't working, like, or who was making $14. Is that what you want for yourself? Do you want to be making $14 an hour and living that way? And the other brother talking about, you know, we grew up in a certain way that our fathers didn't teach us this. Okay, so that's your lived perspective. Your father didn't teach you this, but I don't know if everybody can say that they have grown up in, you know, not understanding that men have to produce. Like I don't like the conversation at all from either perspective.
Okay. So Noma, I definitely want to hear your opinion because you are marriage, you are motherhood, and you are money. So that's, you know, from you being the person that I think that Yada Awakening is talking about in that role, actually actively operating that role. What was your thought when you heard the conversation?
I do think that, you know, funny enough, I kind of agree with Joe in that they were both too stuck on the opposite ends of the spectrum. That being said, I do think that it sounded like the Yada guy was where he wants to be, and the other guy wasn't. So I see Yada's perspective in the sense that, okay, I get you're where you are, and I understand your experience, but wouldn't it have been a better conversation if he was more interested in how do you get to be quote unquote rich, since he kept saying, you're a rich guy, you're a rich guy. I don't know Yada's background enough to know if he was just born into a rich family or did he, you know, or what's it called, the bootstrapping or whatever. I don't know enough about him to know how did he get to the experience that he was at. But to me, it looked like he was where he wanted to be, and the other man was still struggling and defending a place that he didn't even want to be in.
Okay. So Dr. Alicia, so Yada, do you feel like Yada was looking down on the other man when he was telling him, you know, that he needed to basically man up and live within his means so that his woman didn't have to?
You know, your worth is not tied to how much money is in your bank account. And it sounded like he was trying to shame him. And he kept saying, I'm working hard. I'm just, everybody has a trajectory and a development. As long as you're doing the best that you can and being the best person that you are, that's what your worth should be tied to. This performance-based esteem. You can only be happy and only worthy of a relationship, which is one thing Yada said. Don't even talk to a woman unless you have a certain, what? He didn't even give I always ask, like, what's the number? What number do you have to have in order for you to be worthy to be in a relationship? Your love is tied to how much money is in your bank account. That's absurd. And I think we need to move away from that. And we need to start tying people's worth to things that are more substantial when it comes to healthy relationships.
So Dr. Lene, so do you think that is what he was saying? Do you think he was saying that his money or his worth was tied to his money? Do you think that a lot of men feel like that?
I don't necessarily think that they feel like their worth is tied to their money. I think that they might feel like their quote unquote manhood, their quote unquote ability to be able to provide and care for. Old boy that's making $14 an hour, would he like to make more? I believe he would. Would he like to be in a better position to take care of his woman? I believe he would. It sounded like he was saying, you know, I'm doing the best that I can. Do I think he's necessarily doing the best that he can? Maybe in his mind he thinks he can, but I, as a woman, know that you can do better than $14 an hour, right? But different circumstances, different education, different backgrounds, different experiences. We don't know enough about him. Did he just come home from vacation or college? We don't know enough about him to know, why are you making $14 an hour? Can you be doing something different? Do you have education? So there are things that he can do to elevate his financial backing, where he is financially, to better take care of his people and to be a better provider.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with Dr. Alicia with regards to the shaming, right? I think that sometimes when people elevate and they get to a certain place and a certain level, it's very easy to look back at or to look down at and say, you should be able to do it because I did it.
Mm.
That's not always the case. Everybody has different drive, opportunities, motivations, connections, whatever the case might be, that everybody else doesn't have. Would we like them to have it? Yeah. Do we want? If we operate from the perspective of what Joe said, if he would have been like, I started where you were. This is what I did to elevate. This is how I got here. What do you need to get to a better place so that you can be a better provider? Instead of attacking his manhood, we would have had a different conversation. Because I think that every man wants to be a provider. Every man may not be in the position. And just because you're not in the position doesn't mean you shouldn't be in a relationship. You have a partner together, be a team, build. Somebody support one person while they get on, support the other person while they get on. I think the conversation was just had from a very negative standpoint.
Yeah. Well, there was only a snippet of the conversation that was shown, because there was another part of the conversation where he said, so you still expect your woman to go to work, come home, cook, have sex, do all the things where she got to work and she got to do all this stuff, and you still expect that? He's like, yeah. And you doing, so, and I think there was another part of the conversation also where he shared, sort of what it was that he did. And when he talked about living within his means, like he was saying, when I didn't have, I lived like that so that my woman could support and nurture our children, so that I could work harder, so that I could build this life for her. So that was the other part of the conversation that we didn't see here. But, in my opinion, I think that, first of all, I think you guys are all right about a man's worth not being tied to his money. Like, what happens if that's the case? If and that goes for everybody, right? Because a lot of women will walk around because they make, 6 figures. I make $150,000 a year. They think that, they the shit. Can't nobody tell them nothing. I'm running shit in this relationship. I do this, I do that. But what happens if you lose it all? Does that mean that you are no longer worthy of respect, of love, of kindness, of being who you are? And if the money is the thing that projects who you are, then that means that probably personally you have nothing on the inside. So I just think that people put too much stock in money. However, the whole idea, let me ask you this, because I think somebody said, I read somewhere, or maybe it was one of our slides, but they said that, and I'll start with you, Dr. Alicia. Do you think that men should still pay more even if they make less? Like if I go out with a man, and I likely make more than him, probably, he's still paying for dinner. Do you think that that's fair? If you make more than a man, that he should still pay more?
I think it just depends. It depends on who asks who out. Like if you ask a man out on a date, then, maybe you offer to pay. Say, I'm going to ask you out on a date. I'd like for you to accompany me somewhere I want to watch this new movie, and I want you to accompany me. I'm going to pay for it. I just want your company. I think that's fine to do. Mm-hmm. That's okay to do. If your idea, you thought of it, you want to have a companion there, it's nice to offer to pay. And vice versa. I mean, a man usually asks a woman out, he can pay for it. Let him pay for it. You can return the favor and say, okay, next time I'll take you out somewhere. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to talk more about that when we come back from the break.
Woo! It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, if you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow with flynubianmoney.com.
So, I thought it was an interesting comment where who was that? Paul said that black men are married at a higher rate than so-called black women. So
Wait. Can we address the one before that one? You don't know what's in that man's. No. If he's doing his best, who the hell are you to say he's not?
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Lene, hit that.
Oh my God. I think we have such a huge problem in our community with accepting mediocrity and just saying that that's the best they could do. That's a lie. That's a lie from the pits of hell. You can look at somebody and say you can do better. What happens is we get caught up in our environment, the people around us, either what we see or what we don't see. And then we think that this is all that we can do. And it's not all that you can do. Either you need to get around some different people. You need to have different conversations. You need to believe that you can have something different, that you're worth having something different, and that you're capable of having something different. All of us as a whole society, community, and I'm only talking about Black people because I don't really care about what's happening with anybody else, can do better. Myself included, Constance included, Dr. Alicia included, Joe, Namalenga. All of us can do better. We do the best that we can with what we have in the moment, but we're all striving to do better. When somebody makes $1 million, they don't be like, oh, I'm good, I did the best. They try to make 5 million.
That's right.
When somebody runs a yard, they don't say, oh, I did my best. They try to do 5 yards.
Right.
Everybody should be striving to do something different and better. We get to a certain place, we get complacent, and then we say, this is the best that I can do, but it's not. That's all. That's your answer to the damn question. You do better.
Right, because we all want to do better. Nobody is content with where they are. Everybody, we're all striving. In the moment that you think that your $14 an hour is enough to be able to support and sustain a family, like you failed, I believe, as a man, because you're not trying to do better. If you're content with that, you failed as a person. But going back, when he said that it's our problem as Black women. Well, first of all, Black women have a higher so men are, because I did a quick ChatGPT tech check. Men are married slightly at a significantly, a slightly higher rate than Black women. So that is true. But the Black women population is higher than the Black male population. And then you add prison onto that. Okay. So there is actually a disproportionate number of Black women who are loyal, by the way, to Black men that aren't married because, and then, you talk about, we only want to talk about the nature of some Black men, how they don't like to be monogamous, faithful, loyal. And I'm not painting y'all with a broad brush, but there is that.
Isn't that all men?
Specifically, I think it is all men, but I think Black men, even more so, I would say. And that's my opinion, but I ain't never dated nobody else. So Noma, let's talk about it, baby. Talk about it.
What's the question?
Yeah, no, you said is that all men? What's your opinion on that?
I don't believe that generally Black men are the most promiscuous per se. I just think that I think that everybody, including the women, have the propensity to be promiscuous given the right circumstances, or rather the wrong circumstances. I just think that my observation has been that that is something that we put on the forefront. We have a trust issue, I feel like, amongst Black men and Black women, and then it's almost like that's the thing we put in the forefront, like, you better not do this to me. And, not that cheating is okay in a relationship, but I think maybe we should check with ChatGPT. What is it? ChatGPT. Whether it's true that statistically, do Black men cheat more on their wives? I don't think you're cheating if it's not your spouse. And I again have to go back to the fact that if you look at statistics again, Black people in general are not married at the same rate as other people. So that's another factor. I don't think you can cheat on somebody you didn't marry because you didn't make the commitment.
No, I agree. The other thing too is I think we're getting into the just addressing what Paul said. we're getting into the whole battle of the sexes thing that I don't think we really wanted to go down that road where we're talking about,
No.
black men versus black women and who's the worst and who's this and who has the biggest problem. That's not the direction that we really want to go. But I will ask you this, Dr. Alicia, since you are another married woman on the panel, can a man really lead if he's asking his woman to go 50-50? Can he be the leader of that household and, go 50-50?
Well, I mean, I think it's shared responsibilities. I think you're running a household together and both of you need to be all in 100%. There's more to running a household than just finances. There is childcare. There's living out your hopes and dreams. There's all sorts of planning and conversations that need to have between two people. Everybody contributes. Everybody works. Everybody pulls up their sleeves. Everybody cleans. Everybody cooks. Everybody, whatever is comfortable for two people in a relationship where it's fair. It has to be fair. You can't lean 100% on one person. Again, it all depends, because at one point in my first marriage, I was having children. I was delivering babies. And so I wasn't in a position to work. And so we even renegotiate. So these are conversations that you need to have all the time. How are things looking now? Then when I became a college professor, the dynamic changed. And so you have yet another conversation. It's always changing, but you never want to be in a marriage and feel like you're alone. It should be a teamwork. Everybody's together. That's the beauty of being married. You have another partner there that's helping each other out. Mm-hmm. What happens if if a woman is married and her husband loses his job? You got to be there for him. It's through, that's the vow that you take. You be there for each other through thick and thin health issues. I mean, these are real serious things. And you don't want somebody, as soon as things get bad, they just exit. Where's the commitment and the trust in a relationship, which is key to healthy relationships?
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's actually really good because, I think the other thing too, and I'll go to you, Noma, because you're a big advocate of, the hierarchy of a family dynamics, relationships, and things like that. So I want to pose the same question to you. Can a man really lead his family? Because you are all about submission, and Dr. Alicia is almost the antithesis based upon our conversations that we've had before of submission. So do you think a man can lead if he's requiring his woman to pay to share 50-50? But you also got to think about this too. When we're talking about a 50-50 financially, women, we disproportionately, we take care of the kids, we take care of the household, we do all of those things as well. So, it's not even a 50-50, it's 50-50 financially, but then you got to think about all the other things dynamically that women do. What do you think about that, Noma?
So I want to answer your question, but I just want to reframe it a little bit and say, if he is leading, then there should be some contingency for his illness. There should be some contingency for his job loss. And part of that contingency is extended family, which is why I'm a very big advocate of keeping our families intact, talking even beyond just the husband and the wife and the nuclear family, talking about extended family. I know men that are kind of like Yada, that won't let a man marry their daughter until they've investigated whether he can take care of a home financially and in all other ways. And in the same breath, his family is also going to be looking at her family and seeing, what quality of a woman she is. You see what I'm saying? So it shouldn't always come to just two people who are kind of there. And if he loses his job, then, oh my God, it's a crisis and she has to step up. She may not have to step up because there's contingencies in place. There's family support. There's, I think we talked on another episode about dowry, about investments that you make for a woman as soon as you marry her, maybe even before you marry her. So you don't have to put the burden of providing when you're not able to. Then it's the same thing with job loss, whether it's illness or whatever it is. But to answer the direct question, can he lead? I think that he can, but I think it has to be a temporary thing. It cannot be long-term. Whether we will admit it or not, if it goes on for too long, she loses respect for him. He loses respect for himself. And we don't have any control over that. Men don't feel good when they're not providing, when they're not making money, when they're not able to step up to the table.
I want to pose that to you, Joe, when we come back from the break. So do men lose respect for themselves? Okay, first of all, can men lead if they expect a woman to pay 50-50? And do men end up losing respect for themselves or losing themselves in those situations where they're maybe not equal or making more, well, actually being the main providers in their household? So I want to ask you that after the break.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
So I want to go back. I want to throw that over to Joe. What do you think about that? Can men really truly lead if they're not making the money? And then the other thing is, do they feel some kind of way if they don't?
It depends on depends on the conversations that are had about leading, right? So what kind of conversations like why are we going 50-50? I mean, is it just out of fairness? Is it out of fear? Why are we doing it? So if there's no clear understanding of why we're doing it, then no one can lead from the 50-50 standpoint. And yeah, a lot of black men do they definitely lose respect for themselves in these situations because they're conditioned to do so. They're conditioned to, if your value is tied up in your performance. So if you're not performing, you have low self-esteem and you do lose respect for yourself. And this is why, when black men struggle sometimes to perform, they get weary. I mean, I'm telling you from personal experience, I've seen numerous amount of black men come to me and say, I'm just tired. And it has a lot to do with the fact that they don't feel valued outside of their performance. We can talk about, what needs to be done. And because I do agree with you, everyone can do better. So we got to talk about, well, if you want more, if you want to do more, what is it going to take for you to do more? Some people don't have that pathway. So they don't know, or they got a lot of things weighing on them that's preventing them from doing more. And it is your responsibility to figure out what it is that you need so that you can perform better, if that's what's going to help you. But I'm just telling you how it is. Like, the performance thing is really weighing on a lot of black men. So yes, to answer your question, they do lose respect for themselves.
So before we go to the next video, I'm going to ask you, Dr. Lene. So you being a single, strong, moneyed black woman, and I know I think I know the answer, but just for audience sake, if a man is not making what you make, can he still provide, or would you look down on him, or do you think you could be with a man who makes less than you?
That's a great question. The answer is yes. I could be with a man who makes less than me. For me, providing is not necessarily financial. It is, can you be a man, right? I come from the Jill Scott school of, if you can't tell me what to do, then you can't tell me what to do. But if you can tell me what to do,
then you can tell me what to do. Yes, sir.
That's not tied to your money.
Mm-hmm.
So, You can't lead me.
Can I
if you
just
can lead.
say,
Hold on. Let her
Sorry.
finish that thought real quick. Let her finish that thought.
No, that's it. That's it. But if a man can provide financially too, that's bonus on top. I appreciate it. But because I'm good, you know what I'm saying? When we come together, our finances, we because I'm already decent. If he comes in and he's not quite at the same level, together we're still better. I'm better because of him. He's better because of me. And when we come to, you know what I'm saying? Like when it goes in the account, it's all the same.
So even if you're making $14 an hour?
No, I wouldn't even do it for $14 an hour. So I said less than.
Let's clarify. Let's
No,
clarify
no,
what
no,
division
no,
means, sis.
Less than, which means he's still making six figures, right?
Oh, okay.
He's just not making the same six figures that I'm making, maybe.
Okay. Got it. Okay, Noma, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's important to add to the conversation that if you're going to be taking this traditional route, it's very important that a woman learns to live within his means. Which I heard Joe say something about, get on the pathway to, being able to be where you want to be. And then it goes back to a previous conversation of saying, if he's not performing, then does that mean he can't have a woman? But there is, a baseline of if you're not where you need to be, why bring on a woman and, into that struggle love and then children into that struggle? How about stabilize? Stabilize looks different for different people. And if you're going to get into a relationship or a marriage with a man and you have a rough idea of where he is, can you live within those means? Yeah. And if you cannot, then that's the beginning of your problems.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I met a guy on a dating app and he said he had been on workman's comp since 2020. And we had got off the phone about 30 seconds later because I was like, okay, well, I mean, the conversation is over at this point. But I was like, Negro, I was like, did you start a business in the last 4 years? What have you been doing? Have you say like, he like, I just been, I'm gonna go back though. I said, oh, okay. Well, brother, you need to get your life together. You don't need to be on a dating app. You need to get your ass back to work. But let's go ahead to the next video.
This is how I know that I'm in the twilight zone, because we have a generation of men today where they get mad at women for being independent and they don't create the space for a man to feel needed. Yet those same men also get mad at women for not entertaining the whole 50-50 narrative. Like, do you understand how insidious and how diabolical that is? That's like telling a woman, fellas, how dare you be independent and you don't allow me to take care of you halfway. Like, that is that makes my head hurt. That makes my head hurt, dog, because the fact that my daughters, I have 2 daughters and a son with my wife, and the fact that my daughters are growing up in this generation of men that think this way is nasty work, bro. It is a new level of diabolical behavior in the thought process that I never thought I would see. Jesus needs to come down right now on a chariot. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but man, I'm thinking about my daughters when I don't know, dude. It's not really the 50-50 thing. It's really more so a mindset that y'all really don't understand that you're exposing these women to. You're basically telling her, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to stay right here, low vibration, and I want you to join me. I'm not going to try to increase my money, my bank account. I'm not going to try to increase my effort. I'm not going to try to increase the quality of life. I want you to be right here with me halfway. That's what you're telling women. Golly, I'm in the twilight zone. Ungodly sassiness at its finest. Stop it.
Let me say what I said.
Paul, I just want to say, Paul knows no one making $14 an hour with 2 or 3 acres of land. You're lying. Anyway, so what y'all think, Dr. Lene, about what this man said? Go ahead.
He literally just said what I said. Want more? You're basically saying that this is enough. This is the best I could do. And it's not. Like 50-50, when you even the concept of it, hypothetically speaking, if the man makes 100,000 and the woman makes 300,000, we're going 50-50. If the woman makes 100,000 and the man makes 300,000, we're going 50-50. Like the whole thing about 50-50. Now here's the thing. If you are in a relationship, there are times when there are issues and you got to do 80-20, 90-10, 50-50, emotionally, spiritually, like that piece I get. But from a financial perspective, it's like we should want more. I want to take good care of you. All right. I want to be a provider. And some of that might be the roles, because not all men go to work. Sometimes it's the woman that is I'm going to go to work, I'm going to do this and the other, but it's set up that way. I don't want the kids to go to school. Why don't you take the home role? He's still the man. He still makes the choices and decisions, but they have decided as a unit that she's the one that's going to go out and work, and he's going to be the person home. I think you have to do what's right for you in your home, but not from the perspective where it disadvantages one person or skews the relationship so that somebody's not feeling like they're valued. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And that's important because, again, value is definitely more than the money. But everybody has to want more. Joe, what do you think about this video? Do you think it's true that these new ninjas is on some other shit?
Man, no, I don't like this. I don't like anything that ignores people's lived perspective. I don't like it. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what, like this brother that's making 14, sometimes we don't all have the opportunity to see what we want to be. And you have to take that into accountability. You know what I'm saying? I worked with young kids as a middle school teacher and as a therapist and a team. And sometimes you have conversations with these and they don't understand or believe in the world outside of what they see. So some of these grown men were once young boys, you know what I mean? And I think sometimes that, we can look at it like, how could you not want more than what you have? So I looking at a brother that makes $14 an hour. My only question was, is this what you want? That's it. And if he says this is what he wants, then I don't have no other conversation for him because that's what he wants. But if he says, I obviously I don't want to live like this, but what else can I be? Oh, okay, let's talk, bro. Let's talk. You can be more. You know what I mean? Let's understand purpose. Let's understand value, and how to get there. But I think sometimes, especially with Black men, you cannot discount a Black man's lived experience. You just can't. You don't know where they are coming from.
So, okay. So Dr. Alicia, you have 2 daughters. And, he was talking about the fact that he had 2 daughters and, the what they have to deal with, what they're coming into dealing with as young women and how, once they become women and the men that they choose and the options that are available to them. Do you have this fear or do you have this conversation? What do you think about what it is that he said?
I'm definitely not going to put fear into my daughters and make them think that they can't ever find anybody, that it's hopeless for them. I'm not going to do that for them. I'm going to demonstrate and talk to them about an abundance. There's an abundance of people out there that could potentially be a mate. I'm not going to limit them in any shape or form. But, I will tell you, like, this whole issue with the 50-50, like when my husband and I were dating, we weren't married. He took me out somewhere and he forgot his wallet. And he's like, damn, I forgot my wallet. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I brought my wallet. It's no big deal. Like, no, let's just have fun. And I could see boys, like, he was really nervous. He could not relax. He was having a meltdown. There was no way we could go back home and get his wallet. And I said, look, I had to stop and say, listen, I got you. Stop. Let's enjoy ourselves. I brought my wallet. It's okay. And I could see like the comfort that went over his face, like his worry, because he's so used to paying for everybody and everything and being responsible for so many people as a CEO and just all of this stuff. And I was just like, look, calm down. Let's enjoy ourselves. I got you. And in a way, it made us closer because he knows he was able to trust and that I'm committed to him. Don't worry about it. It's all in the same pot as far as I was concerned. And like I could sense him really warming up to me. It was a barrier that fostered a real authentic connection that was above and beyond money. And I think that's what men are looking for, because when men feel like their job is being an ATM and their worth is only that, there's no intimacy and no connection. Yes, there's an abundance of women out there for men, but you'll be surprised how many men are lonely, how many men are searching for intimacy and they don't feel like they can get it, and how they are looking for a woman to be like, well, you don't bring your wallet, we don't get to go, and what's wrong with you, and shaming people and putting people down.
Yeah.
You should never put your partner down and make your partner feel terrible. Building each other up. I got you. I got you.
That is so commendable and so sweet. I remember when a dude forgot his wallet on my date, then had the nerve to order some food. I was like, Negro. And then I had to pay for his parking too. We went to a supper club, and I had bought tickets to the concert. It was at Yoshi's in Oakland, and the food was optional. Negro, you should have ate before you got there. But we get there, and so we're in the concert, and they come around, they serve, and then I was like, oh, you want to get something? I was just being polite, but I didn't expect them to get nothing because you ain't got no wallet. So you shouldn't have got you no food. So that was the last date we went out on. This was the second date, and it was the last. Anyway, Noma, what do you think about the whole idea of we were not as committed as you and boys. This is a Negro. I was like, this dude playing me. You playing with me. You playing with me. Didn't have no money to get out the damn garage. I had to pay for the Negroes thing anyway. So Noma, what do you think of the idea? Like I know you're married, but even with women having to slide their card across the table so the man could feel like a man when they're out to dinner, do you think that does something to a man's ego? What do you think about that?
First of all, I'm curious what happens if he forgets his wallet and she doesn't have any money, or she didn't bring her wallet. And just a tip that I probably shouldn't share in open space. If a man takes you out, you should have no money. Not that he knows of.
Yeah.
But do I think it's okay to slide your card and all that other stuff? I feel like it's emasculating. The kind of men that I know will feel emasculated by you insisting on paying. But that's all else equal, not if he's had a mishap. But again, I've known people who will make other arrangements, talk to the server and say, hey, look, here's my ID. You know me, I'm, so-and-so, and I'll be back on Monday or whatever. They've had a brother or somebody run them their wallet or whatever, because there's no other, because I'm not an option. The paying part, I'm just not an option. So he has to figure it out. But that being said, if you're a married woman, naturally, again, it's the same pot, really. If he forgot the wallet or whatever, and I have the money, I probably got it from him anyway. So, yeah.
Let me tell you something. That needs to be the word of the day. I'm not an option. Figure it out, boo. We're going to go to another break. We'll be back. I love it.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Let me tell you something. You don't know how much I loved what you just said. I'm not an option. I love that.
Can I clarify it, because it applies to other areas too? When you're, for example, if you turn the situation around, when you're pregnant and that baby's too heavy in your belly, he's not an option. You know what I mean? There are just some areas where if you're committed to your roles, you should not be pushing the other person into a position that is just not theirs. There should be other options beyond putting your partner in a position that just isn't
There's
theirs.
99 options, and I ain't one. Let's go to the next.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not. Let's go to the I'm not an option. Okay, let's go to the next video. I love that.
A lot of men feel like women have a problem going 50-50 on the bills. They say it make me a roommate. That's not the case. I don't think modern women have a problem going 50-50 on the bill. They have a problem with going 50-50 on the bills, but they don't get 50% of the say. 50% of now you cooking for her, you cleaning for her, you taking the kids 50% of the time. The problem is when you agree to get into this 50-50 relationship when it comes to financially, that's all you consider. That's what a lot of modern women have a problem with. You go ghost when it's time for me to get 50-50 in other things. You acting like you too much of a man to pick up a mop, to load the dishwasher, to help with the homework. But yet you ain't too much of a man to accept the half of a rent payment that I give you to our mortgage. That's the problem that a lot of modern women are facing today. He's going to say, well, I mow the grass and I clean the gutters, things that happen once a week. But I tell you, the diapers need changing every day.
So Joe, do you find that to be true? Are women just like, listen, I don't have a problem going financially 50-50, but Negro, you got to step up around this house. Is that what the real issue is as a therapist? Is that what you're saying?
I defer to y'all on that. Like, I don't know. Like, do women feel like that? I don't know any women that feel like that, or you know what I mean, or that talk like that. I don't have any in my practice. I don't think that this whole 50-50 conversation really occurs in marriage. Like, I think that's more of a dating thing. And if it's happening in your marriage, and you're already losing. You know what I mean? Like Noma said, it's the same pot anyway. So I mean, that's a dating thing. I feel like y'all sharing an apartment or something like that, and you know what I'm saying, y'all don't really got y'all money tied together, then 50-50 is fine. But I don't know. This performance, I don't want to insult this brother because I don't know him, but that whole pick me clip was just crazy. I ain't with all that. He's just trying to get some love from women.
Yeah, he's trying to get some coochie. He does pander because
Right.
I seen
Pandering. Yeah, that's just pandering, man. I ain't with that, man.
He's
That was
actually from
upsetting.
he's
That
from
was
the
actually
school
upsetting
of
to watch.
he's from the school of Derek Jackson. They used to be partners.
Yeah.
So they have this whole
Okay.
formula of how to pander to women. Because when he got exposed recently, the stuff he was actually doing on his tours, which was the total opposite of what he's saying. So yeah, they know how to make this money. They know how to make the algorithm go. That's for damn sure. But are people really talking about this in real life? Because I saw Dr. Alicia, you nodding when he said, well, I don't know people who are having these conversations. Is that the case for you? Do you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody helps. Everybody pitches in. Everybody. It's just like you have to run a household. One person can't do it by themselves. Everybody has to pitch in. Picking kids up and dropping them off. And you know what the beauty of it? I don't know if you guys have the stats up, but African-American families tend to be egalitarian in that way. Way much more progressive than other families. I've seen just in my experiences, men volunteering at their son's baseball league and Black men volunteering at their son's baseball league, carrying responsibility for the baby. It's not the father babysitting their baby. They're really pulling up their sleeves and engaging in wonderful connections with their children and taking care of the changing diapers and staying up with them and caring for the mom who's having children and all of these things. I'm seeing so much more advancement in terms of progressiveness in helping. Household shouldn't fall on the shoulders of one person. Finances shouldn't fall on the shoulders of one person. It's a negotiated thing, and everybody contributes and helps so that everybody in the house feels valued. They feel like they're important. They feel like they're appreciated. Everything that you do to help a household run smoothly for yourself and for your partner should be applauded and congratulated and encouraged. And you should be able to air your concerns if you have any, if you feel like you're having a hard day. Like there's many times I've come up to Boyce and I was been like, I am so tired. I'm tired of parenting. I'm just tired. And he's like, lay down, take a nap. I'll make sure the kids don't bother you. I'm getting dinner and I'm picking everybody up. He has pitched in ways that he probably don't even talk about all the time, but he takes on. I don't even have to ask him. He'll notice that I'm tired and he'll say, you know what? Go take a nap. I'm going to go and take care of everything. And I can trust that he'll do that. I mean, with due
Dr.
diligence.
Alicia,
Yes.
Would you say if you're having a 50-50 conversation, you are already in an unhealthy relationship? If you're having this conversation, it's unhealthy.
Yes.
You're behind.
Everybody pitch in.
You're
And
losing.
you just lose. And when it gets into tit for tat, well, you did 3 things for me, so I'm only going to do 3 things for you. That's super petty. Everybody should be in a position of giving. Everybody should be in a position of just offering up what feels comfortable for you. You know, at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, I need a bath. I'm shutting everything out. I'm going to take a long bath. It should be supported in a relationship.
I like what Carla said. She said, you pitch in and you don't keep score. That kind of.
No keeping score.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. You know, what is that? Quid pro quo. When you get into quid pro quo, that's when you know a relationship is failing.
Keeping score, you are losing. You are losing.
Let's go to the next video, because I think what you're saying is tied right into the next video. Let's talk about it.
Young lady, you don't have to go 50-50 with your man, but do you understand the meaning of teamwork? Do you understand if both of you are making the same amount of money and both of you are living paycheck to paycheck, and neither one of you can afford to have that place and pay all the bills by yourself? You both have car note and you got a kid together, so you both have childcare that you share. If you're a team, you do what's best for the team, for the family, for the good of all, not just you. You see, just because my man pays just about every bill now does not mean it was always that way. There was a time when we were in your shoes, and 50-50 was the smart thing to do. And even though it was more 60-40, him 60, me 40, it was still the smart thing to do for us. Teamwork. We were building together. We were supporting each other's goals and dreams so we both can make more money. And even when he got laid off, we found a way, because I was determined to have his back like I would expect him to have mine had I got laid off. And that's exactly what happened. I had his back until he found another job, which was in a couple of months, and he had mine when I went back to school, graduated and had a better job, which caused both of our incomes to rise. And that was in the first 3 years of our relationship. We've been together 24 years now. Our family has reaped the benefits of our teamwork. Our daughter and our grandson have watched us and our parents in action, and they know how to work as a team as a result of it. We rise as a team, baby. Be well.
So it sounds like the whole conversation, Dr. Lene, of 50-50 is for the struggle love people. It don't sound like it's a conversation that people who are really kind of established are having. What do you think about what she said?
Not even established, just people who are trying to build something together, right? So I don't even think it's the struggle. So I think people who are struggling are having the 50-50 conversation, right? Mm-hmm. People who are talking about how do we build from here? What is our future? What is our path? Where are we going? How are we going to get there? They're talking about how do we make it? Like, you're going to maybe this week you got to do 90, I'm going to do 10. I don't even think they're talking about percentages. They're talking about what do we have to do to get to where we got to go? And whatever part this person has to play to do it, that's what we got to do. Sometimes it's going to be imbalanced, but we know what we're working towards and whatever that looks like to get to the goal. First of all, old girl didn't look like a grandma. Black don't crack. When she said her grandson, I was like, dang.
Right.
But it's partnership, it's teamwork. It's how are we building this thing and where are we going? You got to hold me down because I'm going to go to school. I'm going to hold you down because you're starting your business. And then we get to where we can be so that everybody's role and position can be what it's supposed to be. Yeah. One of the things I will say, as we've been having this conversation and I'm listening to Noma, and at first I felt like it was a extreme conflict to how we operate and how we think and what we do. But in hindsight, it's just the dynamics and the cultural nuances and differences of where she's located at and how we're taught here in the United States. I wish that we had more of those cultural nuances and beliefs around relationships and roles and provision, things of that. We don't have those things here, right? That's not necessarily how things operate here in the United States. But I think that if we had more of that familial input familial support, familial guidance, our how we operate in relationship, how we show up, how we support each other, how we look at building would be different. I think that they do that in other demographics because they think about relationship as wealth building, right? It's not just we have some kids with each other and we're gonna go out here and do it. It's when these two families come together, we're going to build something. And whatever it takes to build, that's what we're going to do. It's not 50-50. It's not you take yours and I'm gonna take mine. It's we are a unit. This is where we want to go. I'm with you. I'm gonna put you on my back sometimes. Sometimes I'm gonna get on yours. But together we are going to work to get to where we want to be. And we don't necessarily operate like that here in the United States. And I wish we did more of that.
Yeah. I mean, we've been whitewashed, it's been watered down. And then you got to think about all of the cultural misappropriations that have happened to us, throughout the years of just being in this country historically, and the destruction of the Black family with welfare, no man in the home, just all the incarceration rates. There's so many things, so many factors of why we are the way we are. And then, a lot of the households being led by women. It's unfortunate, and I don't think anybody on this panel is having the discussion with people that they're dating or they're married to about 50-50. So I think we all kind of have the same kind of mindset around that. Like I couldn't even imagine having at this stage, meeting somebody and we're having that conversation, because it is about, provision, contribution, and the values. I think, and that's a huge priority of the values. I'm 100% financially responsible for my household from the beginning until now. I get absolutely no support from anyone else. And one of the things that I was just thinking, like, because even now, like just with some shit that's going on with now of an asset that I bought for this man, and him not maintaining it or taking care of it, I'm just like, and this is how I was when I was married, because I did make a lot of money. I was like, I don't need you to help me. I don't need you to make my life harder. I don't need you to make my life easier. Just don't make it harder. And it's like, even post the divorce, he's still making my life harder. And it's like, damn, so I mean, that's a whole nother conversation about just the idea of having to be the breadwinner as a woman, and the things that I've had to go through, and having 100% financial responsibility, and here still, even afterwards, I'm still having to have that type of responsibility is a pain in my mother effing ass if you have to do all that stuff. But let's look at some of the slides statistically on, what that looks like, the whole idea of 50-50. The median income for Black men working full-time is $47,000 compared to $61,000 for white men. 1 in 3 Black men over 25 holds a bachelor's degree or higher, which is actually not bad, 1 in 3, considering. Black men are more likely to be underemployed or working more jobs than our white counterparts. That's interesting. All right. 46% of women say 50-50 feels fair, but only 32% says it feels romantic. Yeah, I mean, it's not that romantic when you got to do everything, come home and do everything too. 71% says a man's attitude about money affects attraction more than his, man, ain't that the truth, more than his income. What your attitude says, are you ambitious? Like, what are you doing? Are you trying to go out there and get it? Or are you complacent with the $14 an hour, Dr. Lene? Like, what's going on? 57% of Black women prefer a partner who pays more. That's the interesting slide that I thought, regardless of their income, their own income. So I'm going to ask you that, Dr. Alicia, do you think that's the case? Where Black women, even though they make more, they want the man to pay more? Do you think that's? I know for your household, it's about, we all contribute. But do you think overall, just from what you see in your practice, that Black women, they still, I make more, but you still got to pay more?
It's from people that I know, I'm trying to think. Usually the couple makes about the same amount of money. I haven't seen large income gaps between most couples. Most couples that I have noticed, and there's nuances there, but a lot of the couples that I've seen, they're kind of on the same, they're kind of on the same page. Like you sometimes will see a couple that both of them went to college. Both of them have a master's degree and they're working. So it's like, cream rises to the top and everybody finds each other, so very rarely do I see a very wealthy person get married to somebody who is just dirt poor. Big gaps in income in terms of values and education.
What about the movie Pretty Woman? What happened?
It's all intertwined. Everything is intertwined. Like, you get to know somebody, you ask them questions like, where do you vacation? Like, no one's going to tell you about how much money they make when you're dating, but like, even going to the grocery store, looking what's in somebody's refrigerator, you can see how much money they have and what they spend it on. Where they go on vacation, where they went to college, different types of conversation. You can kind of, in the dating process, you can kind of figure out if the two of you have similar values. It was so easy, for me. I'm married to a man who has a PhD, so we can bond around how stressful our PhD programs were and what was it like being out at the other end. So I find that people do get together, but finances can still be an issue in marital relationships, but it is an extension of other communication issues, like across the gamut. It's not just a financial thing. It's one of them, but it is how you spend your time. Sexual intimacy is a problem. Like, if communication is a problem in a relationship, it's going to be a problem in how you spend money, how you spend your time, what you do, how to parent children. It all comes out, and the core of that is the communication piece, learning how to be empathetic, how to listen, how not to force somebody to believe the way you believe, being comfortable with differences. So many people just aren't comfortable with another person thinking different from them. I love diversity of opinions and differences. I cherish those things because I don't want another person to be a carbon copy of myself. That's unrealistic. I can tolerate differences of opinions. And I think that is the key across the board to healthy relationships in all areas of your life.
Good stuff. Thank you. Let's round this up with your final thoughts. Joe, do you think, so the whole idea of 50-50 with these youngsters coming up, and I don't know if this is more the podcasters that are portraying this, or these, because you're saying these conversations ain't happening in real life. Dr. Leisha's like, these conversations aren't happening in real life, but this is actually what's getting ingrained in the culture. And so my daughter being 25 years old, she's hearing this a lot. And so it may be art imitating life or life imitating art. And people are going to start taking up these opinions of these podcasters. So do you think that, for that next generation, what is that? What are they, Gen Zs? Is that going to be is that going to negatively impact, their relationships as they're growing up? Because they're thinking about these things. They're at the forefront, and let that be your final thought.
Yeah, I think they'll learn like every other couple learns, that's able to stick around and have conversations that last. That, if you are really all in with somebody, you're not having these 50-50 conversations. There was a time in my life where, I was young with my wife and we weren't married yet, and we were doing the 50-50 thing. But as time went on, you recognize and learn, it's really not that. So the problem is, Constance, everybody has a podcast when really they should only be listening to mine. So you tune in tonight and come back to Vulnerability is the New Sexy. And me and Dr. Felice are gonna have a deeper conversation about this. And I want everybody to go to my YouTube and subscribe. I put it in the chat for y'all to go ahead and subscribe to that, because we need to have these conversations. If I sat down with all four of these women, Dr. Alicia, Constance, Dr. Leonoma, I bet I would get a different experience and perspective on how women are supposed to show up in a relationship and how they want a man to show up in a relationship. It would not be identical. It would not be a monolith. Okay. And it's not my job to tell them how to show up inside of a relationship. It's my job to understand their perspective and then explain what my expectations are about how men should show up in a relationship and how women should show up in a relationship. And then it's our job as a collective to determine how much of that is bullshit, fear, and hurt, and how much of it we should actually keep, respect. Then we can move forward and have a healthy, communicative relationship that reduces negativity and, and promotes connection. That's what it's all about. Come back tonight and really hear as the two of us and then two other therapists are beating around, two male therapists, two female therapists are really having this conversation and gaining perspective. And then at the end of the month, April 28th and April 30th, me and Dr. Felice are also like doing seminars called Sacred Conversations. I'll get y'all the link so y'all can register and be a part of it. Like, we're really trying to reduce these type of dumbass conversations because they're not keeping us together. And we need to, I say this every time, we need to be together, y'all. The Black family needs to unite and be together if we're going to grow. I can't be battling you, sis. I can't. And you can't be battling me. All right. I understand. I'm not giving you what you need. Help me understand what it is you need. Okay. You're not giving me what I need. I'm dying inside. Listen to me so I can tell you what that is, so you can lift me up and we can be what we need to be. Okay. That's all. That's it. That's all. Love y'all. Y'all look beautiful.
All right. Good shit. Good shit. Dr. Alicia. So the same question for you is for your children, that are coming up, are these, and I'm not saying your children specifically, because I know you teaching them the abundance. You've made that abundantly clear. But do you think that generation is sort of being ruined by what's being projected out there in social media and on these podcasts about the whole idea of 50-50? Do you think that's going to affect them negatively?
I'm always worried about this red pill movement and the effect that it has on the psyche of youth versus the reality of relationships. Nothing is more beautiful than getting out there and dating. When you do that, you learn about yourself. You learn about other people. You learn about how to lessons in compromise, lessons in flexibility, lessons in paying attention to your gut feelings with somebody. Having young people sort all of this out, I think it's really beautiful. I think it's nice that people can stop and think about relationships and what feels good, what doesn't. Should we go 50-50? Maybe you're in a position where you feel like that's fair, but circumstances change. And I just love the fact that young people are just engaged in a conversation. You can't just land at any one place. There's an evolution when it comes to your understanding of relationships. I mean, I'm thinking about what I was thinking when I was in high school, just starting to date. It's different from my thoughts right now because I have a different lived experience. So as long as we keep these conversations going and we have things like what Joe and Felice is doing, I think that's amazing. We need to put out good content from people who have studied what healthy relationships look like, and we need to get that voice out more. So I really love what the two of you guys are doing. Y'all check out Joe and Felice. I think that's beautiful. So these conversations need to be had. We got to keep it going. I can't wait for the next one. I'm Dr. Alicia, and y'all see my website, Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Y'all hit me up if you need to, but there's so many other options out there. And as long as we have compassion toward each other and not what's wrong with you and shaming people, and definitely I don't like the pandering. I want to agree with that. The pandering there are a lot of women who pander and men who pander. I do not care for that. Let's keep it real, keep it balanced. And I think those conversations are so important.
I love it.
Yeah.
She said there's so many options out there, and like No Malanga said, I'm not one of them. But I do love the idea. That ain't going nowhere. I love that. There's too many options out there, and I'm not one. But the fact that, Joe and Felice have they're doing this podcast, because I think there is far too many podcasts that are talking about more division. And it's really about, the ratings and, going viral, those viral moments. But we definitely need more of those podcasts that are talking about what can we do to unify as a people so that we can grow. And that is what's necessary. So for Miss, I'm not an option. I want to get your final thought, but I do want to ask you, do you think these conversations are detrimental to these young people that are coming up?
The short answer is yes. But before I give my final thoughts, I wanted to kind of maybe throw a spanner and take us back a little bit in the conversation, because I was listening to Dr. Lene say, that my views are more shaped by cultural I guess, the culture, and I guess the implication is African culture, or more specifically Botswana culture. But do you know what's interesting is that when I was spending all or most of my time living in the US, versus if I was here, I used to come to Botswana like maybe spend 2, maybe 3 months, because I was a homeschooler and I was self-employed. I could do that. And even when I was working as a college professor, I had my summers off and I could be abroad for 3 months at a time. I had more friends who were thinking the way I think now, that were African American, than I could find when I'm in my home country of Botswana and among African women. It's actually funny because even here, I have a hard time finding women who think like me and function like me. Most of them are about getting their bag, being the boss lady, getting in their career. And maybe that's also shaped by the fact that here, because labor is cheap, you can afford more easily a nanny or a helper or somebody to look after kids as you go to work. But I just want, people to understand that the women that I have known have been African American, that were traditional, that came from 2-parent homes, that believed that their husband was the provider. Those were African American women. They are the ones who reinforced that for me, because I was often thinking, am I thinking differently? And when you talk about things where I'm too conservative sometimes, I get attacked more by women in my own culture than I am attacked in the African American culture. And actually, I mean, some do too. They get very emotional about that sometimes, because they don't understand the full scope of my position. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And I think it kind of goes back into the whole thing where we want to accept things that saying $14 an hour is acceptable because here in the African American communities, because, we have jail, we have racism, we have all these things. But the truth is, at the end of the day, it does come down to what do you desire for yourself. I liked what Dr. Alicia said when she said everything has to start with a negotiation. I will go back to traditionally and culturally, for us, you don't get married until you've had a negotiation and your families have had negotiations. So everybody goes in understanding what expectations are. And then they also have an understanding of what expectations should be should things not go the way that they were expected or the way that they thought they would. So that's a different way of functioning. So, and that's why I can say, I know it's funny too, I can say I'm not an option, but the thing is because going into the agreement or the arrangement, you're not an option, so he should not look at you as one. But not everybody goes into that situation with that understanding. And then the other thing that I want to say, I don't want to be long-winded, but I'm going to continue anyway. The other thing that I want to say is I feel like I always need to add to the conversation that men and women are not the same. And the truth is we actually have a burden as women that men don't have in terms of childbearing and in terms of even our physical strength and our ability. If a man and a woman leave in the morning and both go to work, when he comes back, kicking butt or whatever, doing it at work and what have you, strengthens him and weakens her. And at night when he's like, okay, now let's have sex, she's usually dog tired and he's ready to go. And that's just because all else equal, we just don't function like them. We're just not the same as them. And I always want to introduce that to the conversation, because when you go about all this 50-50 stuff, we're not 50-50 because we're not built the same. We don't have the same strengths. We don't have the same abilities. And there's a reason why we're called the weaker sex, not weak in our mind, but physically weak. We are. And that's just a fact. Okay, so I'll stop there and just say, this is a whole long conversation. That could be a whole podcast, but I'll just say my name is Noma Langa. You can find me under my name that's there at Facebook. I'm also on Instagram, and I also have my own YouTube channel. I always ask when I'm on a podcast, we have a charity. It's Pads for Our Girls. You can go to padsforourgirls.com if you would like to support us. What we do is we supply sanitary pads for young girls in Botswana, and hopefully will expand to other places who have period poverty. And when you give us donations, we supply to them.
I was saying it real good too. She did. What happened to Dr. Lene? She had to go. She does marriage, money, and motherhood, which is the most important thing. You know, I was looking at there was this white guy that was actually talking about the whole idea of 50-50 when you were talking, Nomalanga, and he said, you know, I don't want my woman to go 50-50. He was like, you know how hard it is out here being a man. You know, we got to slay dragons. We got to deal with the IRS. We got to deal with this. It's this white guy. He was really funny, but it was really on point. And he was like, you have to have a certain amount of masculine energy. He's like, I want my woman to be soft. I don't want to have to go out there and be hard and do all the stuff that it takes to be a man and to be masculine and make all this money. He was like, I need somebody to come home to and just be soft and let me go out there and be hard. So I thought that was interesting. And I was like, man, he ain't lying. Cause you know what? It is hard being a man. I ain't gonna lie. I've been a man for the last 30 years and it is no freaking fun. I'm tired of being a man. Me and my daughter the other day, we was talking about getting her car fixed. I was like, we shouldn't be doing this shit. We shouldn't be doing this shit. Get a man up in this house. Crazy. And trust me, there's plenty of men who want to be. But anyway, here's the thing, y'all. Wait, is Dr. Lene back? Come on, Dr. Lene. I want you to give your final thought because we're getting ready to get on out of here. What happened?
I don't know what just happened, but I have a really just a super simple final thought, and that really is just kind of like what Noma was. I don't even know if it's what Noma was saying because I got kicked out, but it is really to mind your household, right? Mind your relationship. There's a lot of these podcast preachers running around talking about this is what it should be and this is how it should be. They haven't been tested. They haven't been tried. They don't have a relationship to boot. But people are out here some people are out here doing the best that they can. If you want more, do more. I saw a post, somebody said it. So if somebody's if a man is doing $450K a year and he's happy, that's not enough. If that's enough for him, then it is enough for him. But for somebody else, it's not. So you really have to be in control of what makes you happy, where you want to go, what you want out of your life, out of your relationships, and for your family. You can't get online looking to what somebody else is talking about, what somebody else is saying, and then measure yourself to that. You know what's good for you. You know what's good for yourself and your family. You know the type of legacy that you want to leave behind. If it's 50-50 for you and yours and that works, then that's what it is. If it's not, then it's not. But what we should be doing is thinking about legacy as a whole, not just for ourselves and our household, but for the community in general. Most men, if they're honest, would say that they want their daughters to be taken care of. So we need to raise young men to be providers and taker carers, right? Most women would say that they want to be taken care of. So we need to support our men in being in position to take care of. We have to work as a team. We have to come together and be a community. And whatever that looks like it means for you and yours is what you should apply. That's basically what I wanted to say. I have been fortunate enough to do what I do and make the money that I make. But the gentleman that I'm seeing, he does make more than me. And I'm always, trying to do things for him because he is the provider. He is the person who's always taking care of everybody else. So when we go out to dinner, sometimes I'll go to the bathroom and be like, hey, I'm going to get the bill. And so when the bill comes and it's paid, he's like, wait, you weren't supposed to do that. But it makes me feel good to take care of him because he takes care of so many other people. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like you have to be a team, right? And so that literally is my final thought. I'm Dr. Lene Javette. And I love Black people. I love Black family. I love Black relationship. I love Black love. Yes. And I just hate the state that we're in right now. And so anything, all the time, whenever I have something, I can do something to increase that. I always like to.
I love it. I love having these conversations. And I love that we have all of the varying perspectives. And I believe that we have all the right people on this panel to have this discussion because we're not a monolith. I'm glad we have a male perspective, and then we have a mama money and a marriage expert, and we have a therapist, and we have a professional single woman who's dating. So all of these perspectives, and me being divorced and a man of 30 years, but we have all of these great perspectives that can contribute to the conversation based on, as Dr. Alicia and Joe said, lived experiences, and we all have our own. And Dr. Lene said, we got to mind our business and mind our business. We got to mind our marriages and our households, and we got to mind like what's good for you may not be good for me, because we're all very different. And we can't hate on, I don't have the bandwidth to worry about what goes on in other people's houses. I only have the bandwidth that to go what's going on in my own. But here's the thing, whether it's 100% or 50-50, somewhere in between, the real issue is partnership. How are we defining value in relationships? And are we leaving room for grace and reality? In a time where both partners are often needed to work to survive, these conversations and less judgment and more honesty. So let's keep the dialogue going in our homes, online, and in our hearts. Until next time, kings and queens, keep building, keep growing, and keep securing the bag, y'all. Listen, we are going to be here tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific, same bat time, same bat channel. If you want to find us on Spotify, search for Fly Nubian Money. And make sure you subscribe to all of our channels. And make sure you text Queens to 87948. We're going to see y'all on the other side. Peace.